So here's a news flash to all of you who didn't know. For all of you who think that there are those of us who voted for Donald Trump and didn't vote for Kamala. Let me call the truth, the obvious truth that many of you just simply don't want to face. What we voted for is for order again. What we voted for is for structure again. What we voted for is for common sense again. What we voted for is for a patriarch to be returned. This is the resurrection of the masculine era. Yes, I feel like no one's saying it. What's most obvious, quite obvious, that for the better part of 16 years, men have been shunned, silenced, bullied, and systematically removed from all of leadership, from even giving our opinions. We've watched this masculinity, the masculine frame has been completely demonized. Fatherhood was dismissed. Responsibilities was replaced with entitlement, absolute entitlement. And for 4 years, Trump fought against that tide. Now keep in mind, I voted against Trump the first time. I was like, there ain't no way. I was under the same brainwash that you are still under now if you disagree with me. That's facts. He's a lone figure that was fighting against the matriarchal chaos that we've all seen. Matriarchal chaos. Men who are locked up for no good reason. Women who are getting payments for no good reason. People who are being killed and slaughtered. Children who are being mutilated are being allowed to mutilate themselves before they even know how to stop peeing in the bed. This is absolutely empathy weaponized against us. He was fighting a system that placed feelings over facts, weakness over strength, and emotional validation over societal progression. And now, that tide is turning. We are re-entering the stage of the patriarch. Enough with the matriarchal nonsense. We see what it's done. Here's what happens in the age of the patriarch. When men are in charge, certain standards, certain truths hold self-evident and they're non-negotiable. Feelings do not take priority. Facts always over feelings. You don't get to cry your way into power. You don't get to complain yourself into a position. No, you either bring value or you step aside and someone else comes in. Children stay in their place. They don't dictate policy. They don't correct adults. And they don't lead. They can support because they have a future perspective on which ways in which to move. And the world that we see now, oftentimes they have the ability to see the world as it is today because they haven't gone through the program and we've gone through up to 30, 40, 50, 60 years. So they're excellent support agents, however, they do not lead. They're not here long enough. They don't know all the players on the board yet. Women, number 3, you do your best at what you do best. Nurturing and sustaining the future. Do you know that motherhood is not an oppression? These wicked women have been out here, these Liliths have been out here convincing women that motherhood is oppression. It's not oppression. Motherhood is power. How do you think we sustain a society? The continuation of health, a thriving society, is the most important job that a woman could ever have. Health is what she breathes into the world. These perversions, they don't last, not in a world run by men. Perversion and corruption are two sides of the exact same coin, and both have no home here. Men build society. Women, you sustain it. This is why we set the structure and the rules, so that you don't need to be exposed to all the dangers outside of the fence, all the dangers outside of the walls. Why? Because your emotions will lead you to decide incorrectly. And we live in the world, the one that we're cleaning up now. Too many children are in charge. Why the hell is a child 8 years old deciding whether he wants to be a boy or a girl? Why do you have these fool-ass perverse men teaching class? They're supposed to be teaching mathematics, but they got a transy flag hanging behind them telling your children what the rights of trans are across the country. These guys are perverts. They're perverts. Men do not allow these things. Without strong men, there is no structure, no innovation, and no foundation. And now that men, finally, are back in charge, you've seen enough of the chaos. The reality of it is that the vast majority of women who are on the Democratic side and women who are on the Republican side voted for a man to be back in charge. Why? Because they knew that only a matriarch could be running this thing. We know good and damn well Biden was a puppet. Biden's a zombie. This dude can't say 5 words.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much.
2 blocks. He can't walk a half a block without stumbling and breaking a hip. We know good and damn well, there's never been any better example of a puppet. And you know good and damn well if a male was in charge, if a real man was in charge, that guy wouldn't be there. Only a woman, only the elderly, only those who are so emotional would think to put that guy in charge. That's not men. We're logical. We no longer, us men, have to apologize for our tone. We shooting it to you straight. We're telling you what it is. We're seeing the players. We're seeing the strategy on the board. We're seeing all the variables, and we're telling you this is the best way to go. We no longer have to validate your delusions. I love that. No, sir, you're a man in a dress. No, ma'am. You sitting here working 60 hours a week and our children being raised by some stranger is not a good thing. No, of course not. The reality is that men needed a reality check. Men needed a reality check. We needed to understand empathy. We needed to understand patience. We needed to understand our own toxic ways. We needed time to listen. And because we've had the better part of 16 years to listen to women, most of us, many of us, have grown exponentially in knowing that women are valuable. We do need to listen to them. We have to consider what they're saying, but we also know that their strength is also their weakness. They're too sensitive. Too sensitive. Some moves need to be made without these emotions involved. You got to do what you got to do. That's the movement of a king. A queen can't do it because she feels for everyone. She's loving for everyone. And then there's a side of women who will go too far in their pettiness and go to an extreme. Men have learned that too. We see that, you went way too far. That was not justice, that was actually cruel. Men have seen now the balance. We've seen now that there must be conversations on both ends of the table. That truly is not only better for myself and for who I am as an individual man, as a man, but for society. It makes us healthy. It makes us healthy. It allows us all to be heard and respected. That is the real power of empathy. But there are those who are our enemies, And these enemies have perversed these terms from you women. They've learned your rules. They've navigated your environment. They've been sitting there in your beauty salons, absorbing, echoing, mocking, getting it perfected, perfecting you, perfecting taking over you. And so they found the time to strike, and they have, trying to reclaim, trying to claim what is the feminine frame. And all men have seen this nonsense, and we all have said, those of us who are old enough to know the difference, like myself, hell nah, hell nah, enough is enough. We got to get back to order. This shit is looking more and more like chaos. Can you agree? I'd much rather have one of us be here taking care of our future, and the future of society, by the way. We no longer have to pretend weakness is strength. We speak with the level of authority that matches our responsibility. You understand that? Authority that matches responsibility, not some kid with Twitter fingers talking all kind of shit when he's 16. You don't get an opinion. Dude, you can't even, you're an idiot 16-year-old in a failing school system, but you're trying to tell adults how to navigate life, who actually have successes, who actually have earned authority through their responsibilities and their successes in life. Sit down and be quiet, child. Mom, stop telling him to speak up. Stop telling him his voice is valid right now. That's because you're feeling too emotional. When I'm telling you logically, this kid just sit down and shut up. Most of them. And if that offends you, that's tough. If any of these things offend you, tough cookies. Because we've already seen the alternative. We've been looking at it for the past 16 years. Again, I'll say it. The best thing that could have happened to Trump was Biden got elected. Biden got elected. I was on Team Democrat until I saw everything Trump said. I said, you know what? Some of the things he's saying is not that crazy. In fact, it just makes sense. He's just bold enough to say it. Okay. Let me look at the other side of the fence. I've been looking at Democrats. You know what? Let me change. Let me look over there and see what they're doing over there on the Republican side. And then I'm gonna go over there I'm gonna climb over that fence, go to the Republican side, and then I'm gonna look over at the Democratic side. What do I see? When you're on the Republican side, you know what you see on the Democratic side? A circus. An absolute circus. A circus of dysfunction, chaos, destruction everywhere. It's a house burning that's clearly running with no structure, no order, no discipline. Everyone matters. Everyone's vote. Tolerance becomes weaponized. Patience becomes weaponized. Love becomes weaponized. Empathy becomes weaponized. No. For far too long, children's feelings and the feelings of perverts and their opinions have been held way above promoting a healthy future, a healthy world, a healthy society. And men have been screaming from the rooftops, dying in drones trying to tell you that. R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. For far too long, feelings and empathy have been weaponized against societal progress. For far too long, immaturity, emotional volatility, petty and mentally immature children masquerading as adults have been dictating the fate of the competent. But no longer. Men, we are here. Men, we are finally able to stand up. Men are finally able to speak out. Men are reclaiming their rightful place as leaders of society. Hello, why do you think shit is getting done? Come on. To every man who has felt silenced, dismissed, or attacked for simply being a man, I salute you, sir. The reign of the matriarch is over. The return, the resurrection of the patriarch is here. It is here now. And for those of you who don't like it, well, you'll have to unfortunately learn how to live with structure, live with order, live with common goddamn sense. I think you'll make a proper adjustment. I love you. I want you to win. Go win.